3 News Now this week.
I want to say, you don't believe it can happen to you until it happens to you.
And that's partly why Eric Mills is now sharing his story. Mills says he was the victim of a hate crime after being run over in a McDonald's parking lot off 72nd and Blondo early Friday morning. This is a picture of his arm showing injuries as a result of the incident.
I probably felt the tire nick my ear. I really felt the tire go over. And I'm just glad that my guy was with me and it didn't go over my head or my chest.
Mills and his girlfriend were leaving a late-night pizza spot when he stopped for a red light near 72nd and Jones.
Yeah, I noticed a white guy and he kind of looks me over and I kind of give him the, hey, how you doing? And he does the old Western cowboy, spit on the ground thing, disrespect, F you type.
Mills says the men in the truck began following him and even cut him off when he switched lanes.
And this proceeds all the way from across Dodge till we get to Cass. At that point, they just start throwing beer bottles at the car.
Mills says when he and his girlfriend, who's white, approached 72nd and Blondo, thinking they'd lost the two men, they pulled into McDonald's to assess damage to the car. Seconds later, Mills says the same truck came speeding into the parking lot. He says the men began yelling at him.
We're asking them, why y'all attacking us? Why y'all chasing us? Why y'all messing with us, And the guy's like, you don't know who I am? You know who I am? And then he just vroom, speeds up, and he don't come at her, or he don't try to run us both over. He comes straight at me, and plowed me over with no disregard, like I was just a rag doll.
He says there were witnesses in the drive-thru and believes he was attacked because of his race. Were you scared?
No doubt, man. Who ain't scared when random stuff like this could happen and for no reason? It's not you got to do anything to bring this on. There's people out there that hate people for no reason, and you don't know who those people are. They could be shopping with you. They could be working with you.
He says there's no room for racism in this country, and society must call it out when it happens.
The cause ain't just for black people. It's for good people of all races who's sick and tired of this BS out here.
In Omaha, Sydney Gray, 3 News Now.
Millions of out-of-work Americans are being surprised by new information. The $600 a week they were relying on receiving through the end of July is set to end a week earlier than they expected.
And that's 1 week less of payments that families get. That's huge. That's the difference between being able to make a car payment, make your rent, get food on the table.
Heidi Sherholtz is a former chief economist with the Department of Labor and the current senior economist at the Economic Policy Institute, and explains why the CARES Act supplemental is ending so soon.
It says in the legislation essentially is that it ends on July 31st, and we all thought, the end of July. But when you look at the very specific language, what it says is that the last payment will be on the week ending on or before July 31st.
July 31st is a Friday. State unemployment systems end their week on the weekend and pay only for full weeks. So the last full week for a payout will be on the 26th.
It's just going to create enormous hardship.
Many people will suddenly go from about $1,000 a week to whatever their state's normal unemployment benefits are, which on average is about $375. But it's not too late for Congress to act and extend the $600 supplemental. Economists like Sherholtz hope they do.
That $600, extra $600 per week for people who are getting unemployment insurance is supporting spending of millions of people, and that supports the broader economy. We estimate that if the $600 additional UI payment is allowed to expire, this country will lose over 5 million jobs over the next year.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
These are pictures of when we built the house. This is the lot.
Jerry and her husband Mark built their dream home.
That's my husband grading the dirt after the house was put on. That was his pride, was getting the yard and everything looking nice after the house was done.
Moving in with 2 kids, they decided for 2 more. Their forever home was complete.
All of our memories are here. Sorry.
Now the family is facing eviction.
I just can't imagine losing our home. Having to move somewhere else at my age. Not that I'm old, but with my two youngest that have never known any other home than what we're in.
The trouble began in 2014. Jerry's husband dies. She's left raising 4 kids alone. Concerned about bills, she pays off her home mortgage with her husband's life insurance.
We wouldn't have that worry of me having to still make mortgage payments.
But raising 4 kids isn't cheap. Money is tight. She doesn't pay her property taxes. It gets worse. She misses paying again in 2015 and 16. The Carroll County Treasurer sends her several warnings about payment. She owes over $1,700.
Because I didn't have that lump sum. I mean, single mom, I was working at the country store here in town at the time. And because of pride, I guess, I don't get help from the state. It's just, not that I couldn't use it, trust me. But I just don't.
In 2016, her taxes are sold off in a tax deed sale, held once a year in every county. A tax deed sale is when a property is sold off due to delinquent taxes. The money owed plus interest is auctioned off. County records show Jerry lost 99% of her home. According to the Carroll County Treasurer, it's a tough situation, saying, quote, "This is not a pleasant part of my job, but the state has laws to assure that taxes are paid or there would be no incentive to pay."
I did receive a paper from the county treasurer advising me that the taxes were sold off to this company, and that anything further from that to pay off these taxes, I needed to correspond with them.
The buyer is a company called U.S. Assets. It's also known as Adair Assets Management and Heartland Investors. Based in Omaha, the company invests in property tax debts owed to a county. After the company gets the tax deed, Jerry had a 2-year window to pay back the debt plus interest, or what the company has paid. Jerry is told, if you can't pay, you face foreclosure. She missed the 2-year deadline.
I can still hear her exact words. I was begging to please not take her home. I was begging her. And what she said to me was, "This is our offer to you, Miss Olson. We will give you $5,000 for the 1% of your home, and you will have 30 days to move out."
In a last-ditch effort, Jerry manages to get $15,000 from family, offering it to U.S. Assets, nearly double what the company invested. 3 News Now investigators broke down how much the company has invested. Beginning at $1,769 with taxes and court and treasury fees, it spent around $7,648. Jerry's offer is rejected. This email dumbfounded her. They asked for upwards of $123,000.
I sat down on my bed and I asked her how she could do this, how they could do this to somebody, and she said to me, "You should have paid your property taxes."
According to her lawyer, Eric New, Jerry's case is rare and that she is out of options, saying U.S. Assets in the county did everything by the book.
If you're looking at the system, it can be very harsh. I have no problem with people who invest in this sort of thing receiving a fair rate of return. You can argue with what a 2% a month is that. But at the end of the day, it would seem that the laws should be altered or amended so that when it does go to tax sale, they don't end up owning 99% of your house.
U.S. Assets refused to comment about this ongoing case. Jerry faces eviction as early as July 13th.
Every moment spent in this house, building our home, raising our kids, it was almost like somebody would explain when they're about to die and their life flashes before their eyes. That's what it was like for me.
Jeff Van Sant, 3 News Now.
I'm Jennifer Griswold. In early July, we featured a story of an Iowa woman who lost her home to a tax deed sale and faced immediate eviction. 3 News Now investigators dug into her case, and now the company that owns her home has backed off, allowing her to stay until it's sold. Investigator Jeff Van Sant has the story.
It's very stressful, depressing. I find myself more and more on a daily basis not doing anything.
A life of memories, family moments, tears, heartache, laughter. All of it makes up Jerry's dream home, a home she no longer owns and waits for it to be sold.
We all know that we're still going to have to eventually move. Still hoping that a miracle happens.
Jerry's husband, Mark, passed away in 2014. Using his life insurance money, she pays off the mortgage. She's raising 4 kids on her own and begins falling behind in bills and not paying her property taxes for 2 years and owed over $1,700. The delinquent taxes are sold off by Carroll County to an Omaha firm called U.S. Assets, also known as Heartland Investors. The company gives Jerry another 2 years to pay the money, but she couldn't and loses her home. She's even given the option to either leave or buy the house worth upwards of $123,000, a price she can't pay. All of it is perfectly legal. Her family is facing an uncertain future, especially for her kids.
Because this is their home. They don't want to move. They don't want to have to think of, right now at their age, building another life, possibly somewhere else, out of this community. They're just not ready for that.
Jerry tried working with the company, even offering them a lump sum of $15,000, more than it invested, but to no avail. Jerry reached out to 3 News Now investigators in early July. We tried reaching out to the firm only to get a no comment in return. The company wanted Jerry out immediately, but in a recent Carroll County court telehearing, Jerry gets a small victory.
We would be willing to allow her to stay until the property sells.
Jerry thinks 3 News Now investigators helped to give her more time to find a new home.
You've helped me so much to stay here as long as we can, or possibly can, because that company is and was adamant that I needed to be out of the home while they tried to sell it.
For now, it's about family, remembering good and the bad, sticking together. They had a great 4th of July bash.
If Mark was here, he would have loved every minute of it.
And spending more time together, trying to stay positive.
We just spend nights here watching movies, playing games, just spending time together. Because we don't know when the last minute will be.
Jeff Van Sant, 3 News Now.
Jerry says the home has not been shown to potential buyers yet and that she is still searching for a new place to live.
Starting next Wednesday, people who shop at Baker's will be required to wear masks. The company that owns Baker's, that's Kroger, is following CDC guidance that says wearing a face covering scientifically reduces the spread of COVID-19. The company says customers who may not be able to wear a mask due to medical reasons may use a face shield or other face covering as an alternative. And they can also use other options for grocery pickup, like pickup, as we mentioned, and delivery. And more major retailers are also jumping on board. Walmart and Kohl's customers can't shop without a mask starting on Monday. Sam's Club and Starbucks are also requiring masks. In recent weeks, many stores have struggled to enforce mask requirements, as we've seen on social media, sparking fights between customers and employees. And with no federal mandate in place, leaders are asking people to act responsibly.
Now, I've had friends over the years say that they were charged for things on their receipt that they didn't receive. Well, it has finally happened to me. I bought 1 barbecue sauce, and yep, I was charged for 3, and I am not alone. Trying to get everything on that grocery list, finding the right aisle, and waiting in line to pay. By the time we get to the cashier, going home is what's top of mind. But checking those receipts should be too.
It's happened a couple couple times, but I'm the kind of person that checks my receipt every single time. And usually I try to catch it before I walk out the door. But it has happened that I've gone home and I've checked the receipt and I'm like, okay, why do I have a double charger? It can sometimes be a mistake that they just swipe it twice, but sometimes you know that that's not the case.
Some even heading over to social media to express their feelings, like this post with an "aw man" captioning. When it's just a few dollars, you may not want to head all the way back to the store, but according to Liza, you absolutely should.
Sure, but if it's done continuously, it's not $3, it's not $1. It's $1 multiplied by how many people. So it's, and I don't know how to say it in English, but in Spanish there's something called robo hormiga.
Meaning all of those little charges add up, and sometimes the response is not a pleasant one.
They kind of get defensive. So I'm the kind of person that I'm a very logical thinker. I'm like, okay, well, how about we check your cameras, and you'll see that I didn't get the item twice or 3 times.
And the inconvenience can start to get to you.
I mean, usually people are very considerate about it, but when it's not, I mean, it becomes a very frustrating situation.
But when I called, I got a very quick and cooperative response.
All you have to do is bring the receipt in and we'll take care of it.
That I've seen things that I didn't even see swipe. So that has been like other experiences. I'm like, wait, where did this even come from? That experience just makes you just want to check what you're being charged nowadays.
Yes, and I can't help but think, how many times did I not check my receipt and I was charged for something that I didn't receive? And more importantly, how much money have I essentially just given away? Now, also be sure to check those receipts for a special COVID-19 tax. Yep, it's a thing with some businesses. This is Danielle Davis, 3 News Now This Morning.
Over the past few months, many have found themselves at home and on their phones more often. Some may have found themselves scrolling through TikTok, the app that allows users to create 15-second to minute-long videos on just about anything. One Omaha business has gone viral on the app for reasons you might not expect. Jessica Edson has more.
If you haven't been on TikTok, you might think it's just a bunch of teenagers doing some fun dances. And while there's plenty of that, there's several other ways that people are using the platform. One Omaha business has actually found quite a bit of success in one of the more peculiar realms of TikTok, carpet cleaning.
Oh, that's a lot.
Like many, Jake Kinney and his brother Pete found themselves with a lot of free time when things were shut down because of the coronavirus. So they decided to download TikTok to provide a little entertainment.
And our work was reduced, so we had a little bit more free time in the office than normal. So he started TikTok and made a few videos, and then I sort of took it and went with it, and then we started going viral, and it went from there.
The brothers are co-owners of Kinney Property Services, but they're better known on TikTok as Omaha Carpet Cleaning. The account currently has over 409,000 followers who tune in to see the cleaners at work.
We have some duets we do with people on stains, we do reply videos, and then we do just general how-tos. Hoping to lead people, our main goal is to hopefully lead people towards better solutions to remove stains of their carpet if they're going to do it on their own.
And the siblings have a little bit of fun with their videos, putting their own spin on TikTok trends. They say some local customers have found them through the platform.
We didn't really know how much work that would generate, but we have had a couple of people call us and do jobs through TikTok, which was fun.
There is some talk of the app being banned in the U.S., with some arguing the app allows for personal information to be given to the Chinese government. But Kinney says he hopes his followers make the move to Instagram and YouTube if that does happen.
With what's going on in worldwide affairs, I don't personally have an issue with a ban. I think there are some concerns going on overseas, so I don't personally have an issue with it.
Jessica Edson, 3 News Now.
You can go to our website, 3newsnow.com, where we'll have a link to the business's webpage and their TikTok account if you want to see some of the videos for yourself.
Stay connected at 3newsnow.com.